All right, one of the first things that we're going to be doing in this class is learning how to cut shapes or patterns out of sheet metal. We use a lot of copper in this class just because, one, it's inexpensive, and two, it's a very forgiving material. And one of the first things we have to do is learn how to transfer the image or the pattern onto a sheet of metal. This can be done a number of ways. Yeah, you could use a Sharpie marker, draw it right on the metal itself. You could use a scribe, which is a tool that actually scratches a line into the metal. You could use carbon paper, but I think the easiest way to do this and the most efficient way and accurate way is to actually use rubber cement and glue your design right on the metal. And if this is done correctly, honestly, I think it's the best solution. But we're going to be talking in a little bit after this video, I guess, about cutting, and we're going to be using what's called a jeweler's saw frame. And once you get proficient with this tool, you'll be able to cut out anything that you can draw. If you want to do skulls, you could make little skulls, or I grew up on a farm, so a bull. You can make little standing figures, all kinds of things. So the first thing that we have to do is get our piece of sheet metal, and I cut, I'm going to give you a little exercise to do, and I actually cut these to fit the pattern, the practice pattern, and so it'll fit perfectly. But one thing you want to look at is a lot of times when you buy new metal, you can see this little plastic film on here, and what this does is it protects the metal from getting scratched, but you have to get that off before you really do anything. Especially one of the next steps we'll end up doing in this class will be using a torch to solder, and you really don't want that plastic on there. So we have our piece of sheet metal, and I actually drew this sample or practice pattern out for you, and we're going to glue this to the piece of sheet metal. Now, this is a really exciting demonstration, but I have some Elmer's rubber cement, and any brand works, and rubber cement is really a fantastic glue if it's done well. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit on my brush. Oh, and this is the problem with these GoPro things. If I'm not paying attention, you're not going to see what I'm doing, so try to be conscious of that. One thing you will notice is the production value of this video is pretty lame, so I'm doing my best. But the trick to rubber cement is to actually paint it on both the metal and the paper, on both sides. Don't just paint it to one and then try to stick it on there, because what'll happen is you might think it's stuck on there, and as you get sawing or get cutting this metal, the paper comes off, and then you really got to just start over. So this is the real exciting part, is what I want to do is I want to stare at the rubber cement and watch it dry. And it's really fun, and like you have nothing else to do, but it really doesn't take very long. But what I want to do is kind of look at the surface of the metal with the rubber cement on it, and you'll actually be able to see when it's kind of starting to dry. On the paper here, you can actually see, I hope you can see, I don't know. The other problem with these GoPros is they don't have like an awesome zoom, so it's like it's really hard to get like super detail with these things. But I don't know if you can see that or not, but you'll see how some of the rubber cement is a little wet looking, the rest of it's dry, and really all you have to do is just kind of touch that with your fingers slightly, and you see how that's lifting up the metal. Since I did that first, that's almost dry, and I can still see just a little bit where it's a little wet on the paper. And once that's completely dry, I'm just gonna stick that. Now, the other thing with this particular pattern that you'll be getting is it's not perfectly square. So it's a little wider than it is tall, but I'm gonna start in the corner and then stick that to the metal. And now I'm going to just kind of rub that with my finger. So that that's on there completely. All right, so our pattern is ready to go. And you know, this will work for anything. You know, obviously we don't want to plagiarize or steal or anything like that, but theoretically, let's just say that you could take a image off the internet, like a silhouette of some kind, and there are a number of free silhouettes online, or if you find one you kind of like, you can actually alter that with a Sharpie marker to get exactly the pattern you're looking for, and then glue that and cut that out as well. As long as it is manipulated, it's not stealing. We'll call it appropriation. So that is transferring images onto metal. So I'll see you next time.